I've decided I'm going to get the snip.
Yeah.
So I booked myself a consultation with a specialist next month.
Excellent.
And I've just had the letter through. And the very first line says, "This is for the procedure as well as your consultation." It's like, okay.
Oh.
Well, that's set in stone then.
Yeah. I've had absolutely zero issues with mine. Full stop. Anyway, enough about our genitalia.
Let's start the show. This is Sheer Isolation. It's presented by Kieran Moore in Trowbridge and John Ponting in Cricklade. Oh dear. Where?
I washed my hair this morning, John, and it's all gone like really sleek and fluffy and like clean, and like I just feel like I'm, from a L'Oreal ad.
You're kind of rocking a Beatles look.
It wasn't intentional, and it will be changing as soon as I can get it off.
Every show we start with our hair. I mean, mine is just an absolute mess at the moment.
The haircut and the snip. Just do it all. Well, you see me, you're here, mate, and you've got the clippers. Let's just get on with it, yeah?
Yeah, all in one, yeah, fine.
You do know you're going to have to back, sack and crack wax yourself, aren't you?
No, it says not to.
6 years ago, I was told to shave my nutsack, so I did.
Are we keeping that bit in as the introduction?
You can keep that in. Everybody knows about my nutsack. It's fine.
And cut for the radio edit. Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sheer Isolation. I really don't know how I'm going to edit this first bit together.
The things that go on prior to links off air, just cut serious.
Welcome to the Sheer Isolation show. Thank you for joining us. We just started off. Normally, I accuse Kieran of being like on edge and being a whirling dervish of Tasmanian devil mentalness, but I think we're both there this week, which is unusual for me. I don't know.
You more so than me, I think.
I'm pumped, Kieran.
You are pumped.
Anyway, point of this show is to promote the local music scene across the West, so we will do that, or we will endeavour to do that as always. We've got a couple of things lined up. A track from Jess Vincent coming up shortly. Our guests have also picked a tune from a Somerset band as well. Really looking forward to our guests this week. So it's Fraisia Dunn and Dan Petley, who are they're musicians, they're charity community workers, they're performing arts people. They've got a lot of strings to the bow. They're also members of the Glastonbury bin team who paint all the bins. There's been a lot of love for the podcast this week. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the weather's changed, it's getting warmer. But I've had people come to me saying, "Oh, it's really seen us through the winter." Know that the music.
Funny enough, I've had a few messages too, which has been really lovely. Steve Hooper. So Steve Hooper's been he's been listening to the podcast. And he's been texting me saying, "Oh, great show, mate." And I've not replied to any of his text messages. And then we had this Twitter exchange the other day about football, and I had to ring him as a consequence of the Twitter exchange. And he goes, "Yeah, the reason why you've not been responding to my text messages is because I got your number in wrong." So this poor bugger's been sat there for the last year, or possibly 2 years, going, "Well, he never bloody replies." It's because he's got my number wrong. He was sending it to random people.
Now, all of a sudden, I don't feel so bad about not inviting you to the group chat and inviting a completely random Kieran to present this week's show instead. But that's a whole other story. Joys of Zoom. Just pick a random Kieran from my list. You can present this week.
Why not?
Right, we'll get on to the tune. So I've picked a track this week. It's a few years old. It's from 2015, so 6 years old. It's from a Wiltshire musician, Jess Vincent.
This song is as old as my snip.
Thing is, you keep referencing it now, so I can't edit it out.
Wow.
We have one little conversation I can edit out. If you're going to keep bringing it up, then we're just stuck, aren't we?
John, that's not my problem, mate. I don't produce the show. I'm not the editor. I just sit here and chat. And if I want to talk about vasectomies, that's your problem.
Thank you, mate. Right. We will.
So this song is as old as my vasectomy.
Kieran, do you want to tell us a bit more about Jess Vincent?
She played for me once as a soloist as Jess Vincent. She then joined Penny Red, didn't play for me ever again, but she was quite popular in devises at the Southgate and a few other venues. But unfortunately, she only played for me the once as a soloist. So, but lovely girl. Yeah,
same here. She played 1 year at Tree Fest. But yeah, she's moved out of the country now. So we're following our theme of playing tracks from local artists who are no longer local.
They've all moved away.
But I like this track just because it's one of those tunes that just feels spring.
I totally get that. I often I can feel autumn in some certain music. I feel autumnal. I feel all the seasons. I do feel all the seasons in music. So I totally get where you're coming from.
So this track is Shine.
Vincent Shine.
That was indeed, yes, from 2015. You keep...
Oh yes, that's right. It's the same age as my vasectomy.
You keep playing with that record in the background, Kieran. Do you want to tell us? That's product placement right there. I can see New Pagans.
Yeah. Basically, I keep dropping it, and I'm probably going to damage it if I keep dropping it. It's New Pagans.
You've been talking about this for a while. Has it lived up to expectations?
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. This is exactly what I wanted at this moment in my life. Just a new, good quality sort of British rock band. And lyrically, I'm really really engaged. So I absolutely love it. Absolutely bloody fantastic. If you like a bit of Brit rock, they're from Northern Ireland. They've got a lady singer. Her name's Lindsay, and she is fantastic. She is the wife of Cahir, who is the original guitarist or one of the original guitarists in Jet Plane Landing. So, and he happens to also be Frank Turner's guitar tech. So real musical family going on there. Fantastic band. Go out and buy it.
I'd love to know how you keep all of those connections in your head like that. That was flawless.
I've just been listening to the band a lot recently and chatting to them. So
you are the man with 1,001 contacts.
Well, not about that many.
Right, we will move on to introduce this week's guests. We've got a double feature of guests this week. It is Fraisia Dunn and Dan Petley, who are Bristol-based artists, musicians, performers. They do pretty much everything.
Really lovely couple, really interesting, and their project is really worthwhile. So I'm going to see if I can involve them in any other part of Wiltshire at some point. That would be really great.
Yeah. So we start by asking them about the Brick project, which is kind of the main focus for Dan in particular. So it's essentially you have a brick wall. People just come along and paint your own brick, and then it just goes. Well, it's on that wall forever. So it's a really nice way of getting everybody in the community involved. But I'll let Dan explain a bit more about it.
I mean, it all started off quite by accident, really. It was I've always wanted to make public art projects and sort of bring communities in, and somehow I found myself at Hamilton House in Bristol, where Coexist had studios, and I decided that I wanted to do some public art outside because I was doing sort of old master paintings. My street name was Old Master, and I was painting sort of Renaissance and Baroque imagery. And I just wanted to do something a bit more permanent, I guess. And the idea of just painting single bricks. So outside Hamilton House, there's about 150 single bricks in this wall. And I thought if 150 different people painted one brick each, that would be a far more interesting thing to look at than just an individual's large scale piece of work. And through that experiment, it turned out that people really respected the piece and it didn't get defaced. And it meant that all of the people that make tags in the area felt that they were involved with a community project. So
yeah, and Hamilton House is in Stokes Croft, which is a kind of
arts quarter.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe now that sounds few, because this was in like 2008.
No,
later.
It was definitely. I finished in 2013, so I feel like I started around.
Yeah, so at that point it was, and it still is. It's an inner city area, and it's a bit gritty. There's a large like homeless population there. So part of the nice thing about that first brick project that I was just involved in as a punter, was that you kind of have like middle class people coming for their Sunday lunch at the canteen, painting alongside homeless people, and all kinds of other people in between, everyone really, because you know, people just pass through on their commutes quite a lot there as well. So yeah, part of it is to get people from all kinds of different backgrounds painting next to each other, and kind of without forcing those connections, just gently getting people to realize that they're interacting with people they might not normally interact with, and of course getting to see all the creative work that those people produce, and the fact that they're all there all next to each other in a permanent piece afterwards. Also, it kind of democratizes the artwork. So it doesn't matter what your experience of art is, it doesn't matter what your experience of life is, your brick is just as important as the brick next to it.
Was it yourselves who've taken it across Europe, or was that another team who?
So I managed to do one in Bulgaria, basically with excess paint. When I was working as a teacher in Bristol, it sort of fell into a gig economy job, and I very much stopped enjoying it. I felt like I didn't really have any rights. So I found a way to sort of work online as a writer and live in a place where I didn't have to pay rent, which was looking after my friend's house in Bulgaria. So I did that for quite a few years, and while I was out there I was developing Macclesfield Brick Project, and the leftover paint from that project that we didn't manage, most of the paint we managed to get out to the community groups that we worked with, but loads of it was just spare. So that spare paint I took over to Bulgaria in my luggage so that I could make a brick project in that village, and that turned into Karanci Brick Project. Of course, it was all voluntary, and I taught myself Bulgarian, and I got my teacher to help me to make a leaflet to get the whole village involved. And so yeah, that just sort of came together very naturally. Basically the projects that we want to do going forward do have to be funded, because it's so much work, and we've done far too much voluntary stuff so far. But that's why it's so good that we managed to get the funding from Mayflower 400 in Plymouth for Plymouth Brick Project. I mean, we launched the Plymouth Brick Project on the 17th of May, and that's a 2-week project. I've been planning it for 4 years, and of course we were supposed to launch this time last year. And yeah, so it's kind of that year we've just been spent clinging on and working on our policies and all of the behind the scenes stuff. Everybody look at the website, and definitely look at our workshops, and just send us some contact if you're up for working with us, because we're raring to go. We really are.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to hang on to this idea of painting and kind of organized graffiti, I suppose, if I could call it that, to move on to one of the other things you do, which is volunteer at Glastonbury. And for anyone who's been to Glastonbury and you've seen every bin has a completely different paint design on it, that's you're part of that, aren't you? How did you get into that?
Yeah, you're about to say, how did you get into that?
The original idea was our improvisational band, the Titmice, who we formed in 2013. It was me, Andrew Gillen, and Harry Westbrook. We're not professional musicians, but so like the whole idea was kind of democratizing the idea of being a focal point in a pub. At our first concert, I tattooed myself, and there's always a very sort of wild atmosphere. And we recorded 7 albums. All of them was sort of improvised music, and then sort of cut up and turned into just almost standard albums. So yeah, we wanted to find a way to get into Glastonbury so that we could tell people that we played Glastonbury. And believe it or not, that's the reason why we decided we wanted to.
But I think it was Andrew, who's sadly no longer with us. Andrew he had links to the bin painting crew, didn't he? And it is a little bit of an insider's process. So yeah, I'm a bin painter because I could write on my form. I know Dan and Harry, they're bin painters. But yeah, they have like 80. There's 2 bin painting crews actually. There's like a pro crew. We're not part of that. And they're on site from April. And they work under a chap called Hank, who was the original bin painter. And then the voluntary crew come on site at the beginning of June, and we paint about, it's loads, isn't it? I think we work out that you have to paint like 80 bins each. Maybe it's more than that.
It's probably more than that. It's a ridiculous amount. It's very production. And
each with a different design as well.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
that's why Glastonbury takes 3 months to set up.
Yeah, it's all the bin painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a really nice thing that happens, and there's a really nice community atmosphere there, and actually, like, a lot of that feeds into the way we tried to run Brick Project now. If you're in a situation where you're getting people to express themselves, but at the same time you have to balance that with a kind of efficiency and organization. It's about sort of still having that creative passion, still being a channel for creative passion, and I think we've learned quite a lot through doing
having to spend your morning in the pouring rain doing base coats and on 50 really manky rusty bins. You've got a big glove, you've got to rub off all the rust and all paint from the year previous. It can be, and obviously if it's muddy, that bin's not very clean, and then when you've done that, you just whack on a big layer of base paint as fast as you can.
And shattering the illusion of the dream of being behind the scenes at Glastonbury. Have you heard anything from your contacts about them doing any events this year? Because it was in the news this week that they wanted to do something.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't heard anything about them wanting any bins.
That's a shame.
It's probably them paid binnies, them elite binnies that get to do any bins for these.
The professional bin painters are.
Yeah, and they're really good. If you're lucky enough to be able to go to Glastonbury, if you check out, all of the bins, but the ones near theatre and circus particularly, you'll start to notice that they're a little bit shinier and a little bit more detailed. Those are probably the professional bins. Yeah,
it's either the professionals or me or Fraisia.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to ask you guys about was the actual performance art that you guys are involved with. I can't remember the name of your. Can I call it a troupe? But,
yeah, sure. We're called Sedated by Brick. At the moment,
I knew it had brick in it. It has something to do with
and we were first. Sedated by Brick were first. At the moment, we're working on an adaptation of a novel by Ursula Le Guin, a female sci-fi writer, best known for the Earthsea Chronicles. But this book is called Lathe of Heaven, and it's about a man whose dreams change the world, literally. So he will wake up, it's not all of his dreams, but every now and again he'll have a particularly, he calls them effective dream. And he'll wake up and the world will have changed to this completely new reality. And the reality that was previously there is gone. It has been scrubbed. So basically this man, he starts seeing a sleep therapist who works out that he is indeed telling the truth and attempts to use these powers of changing the world through his dreams to his own advantage. So essentially the sleep therapist wants to make the world a better place by harnessing these dreams, but he gets it badly wrong. So for instance, he decides he wants the main character, who's called Orr, to dream about the overpopulated world, and that overpopulated world becoming less populated. But the result is, when Orr wakes up, that there's been a dreadful plague and 7 billion people have died. And they've all lost loved ones, and certain characters sometimes, through the whole plot, appear and disappear at certain points because they're no longer around.
I've just got one more thing to ask you then, and that is about the track you've picked, which is a band I'm not familiar with. Do you pronounce it Stanlęy or Stanlęy?
It is Stanlęy.
Is it Stanlęy?
It's Stanlęy. Yeah, I think it's the AE. I wish I could remember which language it's from, but yeah, it's Stanlęy.
So, why have you picked this band in particular?
Well, it's one of the members, Bethany Stenning.
Bethany Stenning.
Is also a bin painter. So we kind of wanted to promote our bin paint crew. And exactly they're Bristol based as well. So
lovely.
Wonderful. Right, we'll give that a play now. Thank you. That tune we have just played is called Limbless. It's by a band called Stanlęy, who I'm personally not familiar with, but I like their sound. That video was recorded on top of Cheddar Gorge, so lovely scenery in the background. Kieran, it is time for some news. I'm going to jump in first, if that's okay.
Yes, go for it.
I say a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, we talked to Simon Huff from Forest Live, from the Forest.
Yeah.
They've sadly had to announce this week that Forest Live has been put back another 12 months. So this is the second time they've had to roll the event over. The local site for Forest Live is Westonbirt Arboretum out by Tetbury, but they do have 3 other venues across the UK. And they kind of, over the course of a weekend, the musicians tour around all the sites. It was due to happen the weekend around June the 10th, 11th, 12th, that weekend. So it's kind of,
and it sadly hasn't panned out.
Yeah, it's too early in the government's time frame, so they just couldn't go ahead safely. So yeah, it's been pushed back another 12 months. Right, you had your own news as well, Kieran.
Yeah, teensy bit of news. So first and foremost, many weeks ago, we recorded 6 sessions at Trowbridge Town Hall for the Trowbridge Town Hall live sessions. The last one of those goes live this Saturday. It's Gavin Osborne, and the comment section is the name of the band, and they're kind of a comedy musical act, and they're finishing the whole 6 sessions, and I think it's a really great place to finish on because they're really entertaining and fun, or he is. So that's great. But today, or this week, we have announced, I think they're from Brighton, that technically they're Brighton, but actually they're local musicians originally. They're called Let's Swim Get Swimming, who are like an indie math band. So indie being like really technical, like type music.
Yeah, we played them a couple of weeks ago. I remember you doing a bit.
That's it. That's them. They're going to play the Bell in Bath for us on the Monday. It's a Monday night, but it's a tour, so what can you do? Monday, the 30th of August, and they're playing at the Bell in Bath, and it's going to be super cheap to get in and a lot of fun. So Mondays, I think, are going to be our thing.
That's a bank holiday, isn't it? Monday, 30th of August.
Quite possibly. It would be great if it was. Or not, it might be terrible. But we've got, because earlier that month, we've got ultrasound at Moles on a Monday as well. So it looks like we're just going to do Mondays in August, I think, in Bath.
Something else to look forward to then. You are getting that calendar full, which is exciting.
I'm so excited, John.
Doesn't take much, does it? Right.
No.
If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us, shareisolation@gmail.com. So do please feel free to get in touch. We do enjoy listening to new music, and there is music coming out, and there are bands getting ready to start doing whatever they need to be doing to be summer fit, summer ready, festival ready. It's all looking up.
They're getting their beach bods ready, John. That's what they're doing.
What is the musician equivalent of getting your beach bod ready? Just waxing down your guitar?
Waxing down your strings. Waxing down the strings. They're plucking their banjos, tuning everything up. Ooh, getting there.
Insert joke about G-string, and we're done. Right, thank you for listening, everybody. We will be back same time,
Cheers, John Boy.
Next week. Don't forget you can find previous episodes online. Just look for your streaming service of choice. Cheers, Kieran. See you later.
Okay, bub.
Bye-bye.
Bye.